Namo Shrimadaaya Krishna Prashnaya Putale. Sorry, Prabhu, I was not trying to, when I was saying that, it was in jest. I apologize. No, I was just thinking while I was singing, maybe I said it the wrong way and maybe the mood came the wrong way. I was telling Mo, sir, I'm old, so I'm dying. Sorry, I apologize. Today we are reading from Canto 2 of Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The Cosmic Manifestation. Chapter 7, entitled Scheduled Incarnations. Today will be like Krishna Leela. The next few shlokas will be all Krishna Leela. We'll all do Mangal Charan. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uta Padakamalan Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vangsha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyaiva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vashadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya 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 Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevayat Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Nashtiki Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Shri Guru Dinataranam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Jai. Text 27. Tukena jivaharanam yad ulukikayas Tukena jivaharanam yad ulukikayat Tremashikasya chapada shakatopavritta Tremashikasya chapada shakatopavritta Yad ringatantaragatendi vispirorva Yad ringatantaragatendi vispirorva Unmoolanam tvitaratarjunayorna bhavyam. Unmoolanam tvitaratarjunayorna bhavyam. Token jivaharanam yad ulukikayas. Aina jivaharanam yad ulukikayas. Tremashikasya chapada shakato pavritta. Tremashikasya chapada shakato pavritta. Yadringatantaragatendi vispirorva. Yadringatantaragatendi vispirorva. Unmoolanam tvitaratharjunayo na bhavyan. Unmoolanam tvitaratharjunayo na bhavyam. Vaishnavas. Tokena jiva haranam yadulukikayas. Tremashikasya chapada shakato pavritta. Yadringatantaragatendi vispirorva. Unmoolanam tvitaratharjunayorna bhavyam. Tokena jivaharanam yadulukikayas. Tremashikasya chapada shakato pavritta. Yatringatantaragatendi vispirorva. Unmoolanam tvitaratharjunayorna bhavyam. Word for word. Tokena, by a child. Jivaharanam, killing a living being. Yat, one which. Ulukikaya, assume the giant body of a demon. Assume the giant body of a demon. Tremashikasya, of one who is only 3 months old. Cha, also, by the leg. Shakta apavritta, turned over the cart. Yad, one who. Ringata, while crawling. Antaragatena, being overtaken. Divi, high in the sky. Spiroho, touching. Va, either. Inmoolanam, uprooting. Tu, but. Itaratha, anyone else than. Arjunayo, of the 2 Arjuna trees. Nabhavyam, was not possible. Translation purport by His Divine Grace Abhay Chandan Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Translation. There is no doubt about Lord Krishna's being the Supreme Lord. Otherwise, how was it possible for him to kill a giant demon like Putana when he was just on the lap of his mother, to overturn a cart with his leg when he was only 3 months old, to uproot a pair of Arjuna trees so high that they touched the sky when he was only crawling? All these activities are impossible for anyone other than the Lord Himself. Jai. Purport. One cannot manufacture a God by one's mental speculation or by numerical votes, as has become a practice for the less intelligent class of men. God is God eternally, and an ordinary living entity is eternally a part and parcel of God. God is one without a second, and the ordinary living entity are many without number. Sorry. Srila Prabhupada's funny sometimes. All such living entities are maintained by God himself, and that is the verdict of the Vedic literatures. When Krishna was on the lap of his mother, the demon Putana appeared before his mother and prayed to nurture the child in her lap. Mother Yashoda agreed, and the child was transferred onto the lap of Putana, who was in the garb of a respectable lady. Putana wanted to kill the child by smearing poison on the nipple of her breast. But when everything was completed, the Lord sucked her breast along with the very air of life. The demon's gigantic body, said to be as long as 6 miles, fell down. But Lord Krishna did not need to expand himself to the length of the she-demon Putana, although he was quite competent to extend himself more than 6 miles long. In his Vamana incarnation, he posed himself as a dwarf Brahmana. But when he took possession of his land, promised by Bali Maharaj, he expanded his footstep to the top of the universe, extending over thousands and millions of miles. So, it was not very difficult for Krishna to perform a miracle by extending his bodily features. But he had no desire to do it because of his deep filial love for his mother, Yashoda. If Yashoda had seen Krishna in her lap extending 6 miles to cope with the she-demon Putana, then the natural filial love of Yashoda would have been hurt, because in that way Yashoda would have come to know that her so-called son Krishna was God himself. And with the knowledge of the godhood of Krishna, Yashoda Mai would have lost the temper of her love for Krishna as a natural mother. But as far as Lord Krishna is concerned, he is God always, either as a child on the lap of his mother or as the coverer of the universe, Vamanadev. He does not require to become God by undergoing severe penances, although some men think of becoming God in that way. By undergoing severe austerities and penances, one cannot become one or equal with God, but one can maintain most of the godly qualities. A living being can attain godly qualities to a large extent, but he cannot become God, whereas Krishna, without undergoing any type of penance, is God always, either in the lap of his mother or growing up or at any stage of growth. So, at the age of only 3 months, he killed the Shaktasura, who had remained hidden behind a cart in the house of Yashoda Mai. And when he was crawling and was disturbing his mother from doing household affairs, the mother tied him with a grinding pestle. But the naughty child dragged the pestle up to a pair of very high Arjuna trees in the yard of Yashoda Mai. And when the pestle was stuck between the pair of trees, they fell down with a horrible sound. When Yashoda Mai came to see the happiness, she thought that her child had been saved from the falling tree by the mercy of the Lord, without knowing that the Lord himself, crawling in her yard, had wreaked the havoc. So that is the way of reciprocation of love affairs between the Lord and his devotees. Yashoda Mai wanted to have the Lord as her child, and the Lord played exactly like a child in her lap, but at the same time played the part of the Almighty Lord whenever it was so required. The beauty of such pastimes was that the Lord fulfilled everyone's desire. In the case of felling the gigantic Arjuna trees, the Lord's mission was to deliver the 2 sons of Kuvera, who were condemned to become trees by the curse of Narada, as well as to play like a crawling child in the yard of Yashoda, who took transcendental pleasure in seeing such activities of the Lord in the very yard of her home. The Lord, in any condition, is Lord of the universe, and he can act as such in any form, gigantic or small, as he likes. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Fired up, eh? Srila Prabhupada writes some very nice purports. So here we have now come into the section where Krishna's glorifications will be told. Like all of this next few shlokas are all going to be about Krishna Leela. And it's interesting that, Krishna Leela just passed by. And as I was reading the purport, I was thinking that even Vamana Dwadasi passed by, and there's a reference of Vamana here. So it's very interesting that all of the Leelas are somehow mixed up and being described here. So the first aspect is that this shloka is describing roughly the first 3 years of Krishna. Roughly. Because this is in Gokula or Mahavana. In Gokula and Mahavana is where Krishna spent his first 3 years. Right? And this is the place where Krishna kills Putana, he kills Shaktasura, he kills Trinavrata, he takes the fruits from the fruit seller, and he then breaks the Arjuna tree. So these are like your top 5 topics that happen in this first 3 years, right? Of course, there are many, by the way. I'm just picking top 5. I mean, there are many Leelas that happen in this time. And so after this point, we see Nanda Maharaj's brother, Upananda. So the Nanda family had 5 brothers, right? This is in Gopal Champu by Jiva Goswami. The 5 brothers are described. Upananda, Abhinanda, Nanda, Nandana, and I think Sunanda. I don't remember the 5th name, but like there are 5 brothers. And we hear that their names will come up in the stories, right? So actually the eldest son was Upananda. He was the eldest son. And actually he was supposed to take the the kingship of the Vaishya community. He was supposed to be king. But then he actually says that actually the glory is Nanda's. So although Nanda was the middle boy, he's the middle son, he became king. So that's interesting for us to understand. This is explained in Gopal Champu of Jiva Goswami. He explains this, right? That how Nanda becomes king. Although Nanda is the middle son, right? So Nanda becomes king. And then it's Upananda who, when he hears about the tree breaking, he tells everybody that, time is up. Let's move. Let's go to Vrindavan. Let's move from Mahavan, from Nandagram. Right? I'm sure you have all gone to Vrindavan and you have seen Nandagram. So from Nandagram, he says, this is the Mahavan area. Let's move from here and let's move to Vrindavan. Right? So he's the one who instigates the movement. Right? And so these Leelas are prior to that movement. Like it's just prior to that movement. And the last part of that Leela is the breaking of the trees. And it is at the breaking of the trees that the instigation of moving away from Nandagram is taken up. That becomes the main crux of this situation, right? And so the first thing here we see in the shloka is tokena. So tokena means by a child, the first word of the shloka. And so it is first explained that how powerful is Krishna, right? I was listening to a class by Bhanu Maharaj, and Bhanu Maharaj was explaining that in the killing of Putana, Krishna showed the power of his lips. That's an interesting view, right? The way Bhanu Swami Maharaj mentioned that. I was thinking about it. I'm like, yeah, it's quite fired up. Just the power of his lips. How powerful are Krishna's angani yasya sakalendriya vrittimanti, right? So Krishna has many he has many parts, and all his parts are equally powerful, right? Purnamada, right? So ada means that, and idam this. So in Upanishads, this always represents the material world, right? Idam, right? This. And ada, that. So not this. So ada actually means not this. So that. And so Purnamada, it says that is Krishna, he's supreme. He's the ultimate. Right? So Krishna is so powerful, then Bhanu Maharaj was saying that simply by the power of his lips, he was able to kill Putana. This is Krishna. So Tokena, although a child, through small things, he's able to kill. Right? Krishna doesn't want to kill. So first we have to make that point. Krishna doesn't want to kill. It's just the prowess of his power is that he's able to suck out anything material. That is Krishna. Krishna is like, when Krishna is there, then he sucks all the material things in. We see this in the deliverance of Jagai and Madai. My Guru Maharaj was giving this wonderful lecture. Like I was listening. He was in real ecstasy when he was explaining this. And he was saying, so when Jagai and Madai were there, Lord Chaitanya said, okay, don't worry, I'll take all their sin. And then when he takes his sin, he becomes black. Lord Chaitanya becomes black. And Guru Maharaj was explaining that how, Chitraketu and everybody fell down. Like, oh my God, how come everything wiped out? They had a big ledger of all the bad deeds done by Jagai Madai. And they were really bad people. My Guru Maharaj was explaining, they were really bad. They have raped. Like, these guys are like the baddest of the baddest people that we can imagine, that we can envisage in our heads. Right? And Lord Chaitanya comes and he takes it. So this is Krishna. Krishna is able to suck anything material out. Right? So this is first. So that ability, when Srila Prabhupada is, such a beautiful purport. Srila Prabhupada is talking about Krishna was a child, but he is supreme. We'll read this line again. So fired up. The Lord, in any condition, is Lord of the universe. And he can act as such in any form, gigantic or small, as he likes. And that's fired up. See, this line by Srila Prabhupada is fired up. And this is when we see Krishna Leela, we observe this aspect. Like, this is observation of this philosophy. So this is a philosophical line, right? So this is Upanishad. This line told by Srila Prabhupada is an Upanishad. It's a philosophy. And then when we are watching this, the Aranyaka is the esoteric, right? So when we are watching this, then we can observe the Upanishad. So this is amazing. So in Tokena, in this form as a child, we observe this idea of Krishna. Now, it is first thing to appreciate is Krishna is two-handed form, right? Whereas Vishnu is four-handed form. So Vishnu is four-handed because he deals with the devotees and the demons differently. But Krishna is only two-handed. So he deals with both equally. Right? Krishna deals with demons and devotees equally. He smashed the demigods and he smashed the demons. In Krishna Leela, he smashed both. It's not like he only smashed the demons. Oh no, he didn't smash the demigods. No, he smashed the demigods as well. It's not like just the demons were smashed. Right? So that aspect is understood. And the second thing is that because Krishna only has two hands, he is only giving love. He is only giving love. So that is the next part there. Jiva haranam yad uluki kayas. So Jiva haranam means to take someone's life. And that was Putana. When Kamsa finds out about this eighth son being born somewhere else. When Kamsa finds out, he immediately calls Putana and he says, kill any child born within 10 days. Right? And we can imagine this is, in a non-Kali Yuga situation. This is not Kali Yuga. We see in the case of Chitraketu, what do we see? That his son gets poisoned. So this aspect of poisoning, right? It is not a Kali Yuga construct. It's not like, it only happens in Kali Yuga. No, it's happening throughout when we look at the Leelas. When we look at the various Leelas, this construct of poisoning occurs. We have, Takshaka. He's carrying his poison to bite Pariksha. You see this idea of poisoning? It is there, right? So this Jiva Haranam, this idea that I will poison someone and I will take their life, right? This is materialistic mindset. Oh, you are growing, you are something about you. I will put poison and I will take it away. So this aspect it's not a Kali Yuga construct. It's just the construct of being a materialist. Right? It's a materialistic concept. So this Jiva Haranam, this idea of Putana, that when Kamsa tells her that you kill any child within 10 days, wipe them out. And we see similar stories like this even in the Bible. Right? That when the child was born, they were like marking X's and all. I mean, to be very truthful, I don't know the biblical stories that well, but I remember these type of similar construct where children were being killed within a certain age range. Like, not age range, I apologize, within a certain birth range. Like, within a few 10 days. So similar, we notice similar constructs happening even in the biblical stories. So this idea is to be understood that this materialistic desire, that they may even kill a child, we see this in Hiranyakashipu, right? He gets angry. Of course, Hiranyakashipu goes, beyond the call of duty. Like he tries every method under the sun to kill Prahlad. So he is above and beyond. Like Hiranyaka, that's why he's Adi demon, right? We have Adi Guru, he's Adi demon. Like he's the first of the kind. So he went overboard completely. But, of course, Kamsa tries it all, but Kamsa spreads it out. right? Hiranyakashipu smashes it within this like stones, throwing from the mountain. He does everything. And the main call out here is that this is materialistic, right? That's the first call out, right? And so, this Uluki Kaya, and he says, in this process, she takes a gigantic form, right? My dad was giving a class on Bhagavatam, and he was explaining so nicely. He says, sometimes when we see Krishna is lifting Govardhan hill, it's amazing. It's very extraordinary. But my dad was explaining, but he's lifting this entire universe. Not one universe, but multiverses. He's lifting the whole thing. What's the big deal? What's the big deal in lifting Govardhan? But we make it a big deal. And of course, we also make it a big deal because it's a special leela. But when I'm using the word big deal, I'm talking when we are talking to a Sankhya philosopher. So what's the big deal in that? Krishna is lifting the entire universe. So why are you why are you thinking that if you have done something big, you are an amazing person? No, Krishna is even more amazing than that. That's the point. The philosophical point is that Krishna is even more amazing than that. Right? And so Srila Prabhupada also touches on this idea that Krishna, he is very amazing. So even if there's a gigantic form of a demon, Krishna simply resolves the issue. So even in the killing of Trinavrata, what is it that Krishna shows? The power of his hug, of his embrace. When Krishna embraces, Trinavrata is not able to handle it. And this we have to appreciate as devotees. Sometimes we think, my dear Krishna, come in front of me. But can we handle it? You see, that's the aspect, right? Can we handle it? And the process of bhakti yoga, or the few lifetimes we will spend in bhakti yoga, is to generate the ability to handle the love of Krishna. We have to be able to handle that love of Krishna, right? Otherwise, right now, we may think we can handle it, but we see stories of Trinavrata who, by the hug of Krishna, dies. It's a simple hug, right? Just simple hug. Putana, she wants to feed Krishna. Krishna says, okay, and she dies. Not able to handle it. In the book written by Bhaktivinoda Swami, this Demons in Vrindavan Leela. There's a book written by Bhaktivinoda Swami. And there he explains that actually Putana was... he was mentioning that some Shastra says sister and some Shastra say daughter. Some Shastra say sister and some Shastra say daughter. That, I forgot her name now, but she was related to Bali Maharaj. So some say it's her sister and some say it's her daughter. So Bhaktivinoda Swami does mention that. He says in one Purana it says daughter and one Purana it says sister. So Bhaktivinoda Swami clarifies that. But he's saying that nonetheless, what happens is first when she sees Vaman Dev, she thinks, wow, I wish I could have a child like this. So she first goes through that emotion, right? Then she sees the Trivikrama form of Krishna. And she sees that her brother has been tied by the Nagapasa, right? So he's fully bound up now. And then she thinks, oh, he's such a bad person. That emotion, right? The emotion of great love and great hatred. So she becomes Putana. So Bhaktivinoda Swami explains that she then takes the form of Putana with this same emotion. The emotion of great love and the emotion of great hatred. Yeah, that construct is expressed. And so in this representation of, do you remember the name of I forgot her name. Anyway, in looking at her emotion, we can recognize our emotion. We sometimes have great love for Krishna and sometimes we have great hatred for Krishna. Oh, Krishna, like Krishna, we love you. And then outside someone says something to you. Oh, so you see, we have that hatred as well. So both aspects come. So we see Putana, she epitomizes that principle. That principle is topmost in Putana. And so Putana, she, comes as a nursing mother for Krishna. And at the same time, she wants to poison Krishna. So both aspects are working. This is the duality. Both aspects are working. And so what does Krishna do? Krishna removes her hatred and gives her the position of a nursing lady back in Goloka. So what does Krishna do? So this is Krishna, right? So just like Jagai Madai, Krishna, in the form of Lord Chaitanya, he takes away the sins. In the form here, Krishna takes away the poison. So that aspect is appreciated of Krishna, right? Then Tray Mashika Chap Pada Shakato Pravritta. Yeah. So here it is explained that when Krishna was only 3 months old. Now Putana came, Krishna was I think a few days old at that time. A few days, like maybe I think, I don't know, I don't remember now, but I think the age is explained in Gopal Shampu that I think maybe he was 15, 16 days old, like a few days old when Putana came to kill Krishna. And then when he's about 3 months old, this Shakta Sura demon comes. And so again in Bhakti Vinod Swami explains that Shakta Sura was actually a hovering demon. He used to hover, right? And he was hovering and he was sent to kill Krishna. He was sent. And so what he's trying to do, he's trying to figure out how to kill Krishna. And so when Mother Yashoda puts Krishna under the cart, he takes possession of the cart. He's like a hovering demon, so he takes possession of the cart. And so when he takes possession of the cart, Krishna is like lying there, he just gives one kick. And then the cart breaks down and the demon dies. Right? So, what do you call, Bhakti Vinod Swami says that, sometimes one may think that I have great possessions. Right, I have great, but with one kick of Krishna, everything is finished. So, Bhakti Vinod Swami makes the point. I like that. It was very funny the way he mentioned that. And of course, his friends are there. Krishna's friends are there. So they tell all the, Brajabasis and Mother Yashoda that, see, the boy was left here and this happened. And of course, at that point, Mother Yashoda picks Krishna up, and caresses him. Now, this wonderful Leela of Krishna, breaking the Arjuna tree, this Damodar month is coming. Of course, this month we get the Purushottam Mass. So obviously it's going to be pushed out. Kartik is going to be pushed out a little bit. But in the month of Kartik, this Damodar month is coming, and this pair of Arjuna trees, this Leela is described. And actually in Gopal Champu, we see Jiva Goswami go a little deeper into the Leela. So he actually explains that after the Leela is done and then the trees are broken, okay, some very, some wonderful pastimes are explained there, that when when Mother Yashoda is trying to bind Krishna, Krishna is saying, where is Mother Rukmini? I apologize, Mother Rohini. And where is Balaram? How can you tie me? So he's asking this, right? He's saying, how can Mother Yashoda tie me? And then there are actually gopis who had complained to Mother Yashoda about Krishna's behavior. So they are also standing there and they are laughing at Mother Yashoda. So you were saying that Krishna doesn't steal. Now see, you are also doing this. And so in that, you see Krishna is getting very angry, and he's in this Gopal Champu, this like amazing, the mellow of conversation between Mother Yashoda and Krishna, where Mother Yashoda is calling Krishna the king of thieves. And he's actually explaining that that's true. Krishna is the king of thieves. He steals everyone's hearts. So there's nothing wrong in what is being stated. Krishna is the king of thieves. So he's saying, oh, king of thieves, you stole. Krishna is saying, I didn't steal. He's saying that the pot broke by itself. Then she's saying that how come these monkeys are being fed? She says, Lord Narayan sent the monkeys. So it's like amazing this. When you hear these, this mellow of conversation, it's very funny. But there's a big back and forth happening between Mother Yashoda and Krishna. And then finally, Mother Yashoda says, no, that's it, I'm going to tie you to this mortar. And she actually first begins by removing strings from her hair. She first starts with that. Because Krishna is a small guy, he's a small boy right now. So she's removing the strings. She's thinking, what is a 3-year-old, 2-year-old boy? You can just tie him up. So first she tries one string, doesn't happen, 2 strings. Now there's something amazing, right? At this point, then the gopis come and give her some ropes. And so she's trying and trying and trying. Now the funny thing is for us to appreciate is that how amazing is Krishna. The amazement of Krishna, that Krishna is standing there. Mother Yashoda is seeing Krishna as a 3-year-old boy, right? But that rope is seeing Krishna as what? As Antaryami. As the holder of this universe. So can you appreciate that? How the two are seeing things differently. Is that making sense? Like Mother Yashoda is seeing him as a small boy, but the rope is seeing Krishna as this, this gigantic form. Like Srila Prabhupada mentions that if Krishna wants, he can take a gigantic form. Right? And it's all happening in the same Leela at the same time. Right? So, when we say that time has no effect, in the spiritual world, this is what it means. We sometimes use the terminology, right? Time has no effect. This is what it means. In the same time, in the same moment, two different rasas are being appreciated. The two different rasas are happening at the same time. So finally, of course, by the grace of Mother Yashoda, she ties him up. Krishna goes, he breaks the tree, and then of course now Nanda Maharaj comes. Now Nanda Maharaj is very angry. He says, "Who tied my boy?" Now Mother Yashoda tied, isn't it? Who tied? Mother Yashoda tied. Now there is something interesting. He says, why did Mother Yashoda tie Krishna? Because in this fighting between Krishna and Mother Yashoda, Krishna tells Mother Yashoda, "I am leaving the house. You are not listening to me." So then she thinks, the young wild boy, like she's thinking, wild boy, young, 2, 3 years old. Children do that. When they get angry, they leave. Although they shouldn't, they may go out. So then that's why she ties Krishna. You see, there's a reason she ties Krishna. The reason is because she will leave. So now, of course, Nanda Maharaj is here. He's picked, who did this? Now Mother Yashoda is very sad, and so she goes away. And so then, Nanda Maharaj is trying to pacify Krishna. Krishna is very, is explaining, he's angry, he's crying. So then, Rohini comes, and so Krishna tells, Nanda Maharaj that, "I don't want to talk to Rohini and Balaram. Where were they when I was calling for them?" It's amazing, this Leela. And so then, I'm trying to remember the order in my head. It was something like this. And then, yes, at one point, Nanda Maharaj is asking Krishna, "My dear Krishna, let's go and pacify Mother Yashoda. She's crying." Like Mother Yashoda had not come back. And so it is at this juncture, right, that Nanda Maharaj is asking Krishna, "My dear Krishna, who do you love the most?" And then Krishna is saying, "You, Daddy, I love you." So Nanda Maharaj is like, "Oh, okay." He says, "Who will you play with?" "I will play with you." So, Balaram comes to hold Krishna's hand, and Krishna takes the hand away. "No, you were not there when I called for you. Mother Yashoda tied me to the motor." So it's very, very amazing, this Leela that is being described. And then eventually, Nanda Maharaj tells, "Okay, Krishna, come, let us we'll beat Mother Yashoda for doing this." Then Krishna is saying, "No, you cannot do that." And then that's when Krishna changes his mellow and he goes and hugs Mother Yashoda. And so listening to all of this Leela, that is when Upananda comes, and then Upananda says, "We should leave Mahavan." Right? We should leave this Mahavan, we should leave now, we should move to another place. And he says that, obviously we have to take permission from the king, that we are changing residence. But he was saying that because we are moving to a forest, we don't have to take explicit permission. We're just moving from a town to a forest. We don't need any explicit permission. People live in forest all the time. Who takes permission? From the king. The Kamsa is the king, right? So this shloka is just summarizing those 3 years, all in one, right? And of course, Srila Prabhupada is, also picking up the concept of Vamana, and then how Vamana he's such an extraordinary being that he becomes so huge, right? So Srila Prabhupada mentions that. And then of course Srila Prabhupada mentions that, and we can just touch on this, that people, like leaders, can think that they can become God, but no one can. He says, if you are God, then when you are a child, you have to show your greatness. Not like, "Oh, now I became God. Now I'm big, I've been pumping iron for, 10 months, see my abs. Now I am God." No. When you are, when you got baby fat and little hair and just one tooth, then you are God. At this point, you need to prove you're God. So this variance is required. And that is why it is, Jiva Goswami also points this out, that Krishna Leela is one of the few Leelas where, as a child, as a baby, Krishna is killing demons. As a baby. Right? So in other Leelas where you have, Lord Ram coming, or where you have, Narsimhadev coming, they're all, big forms. They are in the, the masculine, adult form. But in this, Krishna, he's so great that, he's this minuscule little baby, Tokena. He's Tokena and he's killing. And this is extraordinary in the position. So yeah, I think I have tried my best to cover pretty much everything Srila Prabhupada wrote in the purport. So it's 8:40. The devotees want to share something about this? Granth Raj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari. Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama.